Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Marianne Petrie. You can find me, my books, and blogs on dismantlingfamilycourtcorruption.com. The book Dismantling Family Court Corruption, Why Taking the Kids Was Not Enough, came out in 2020, followed by Cry Out for Justice, Poems of Truth, followed by Raised by These Wolves, How Family and Federal Courts Are Trafficking Our Children. And on the heels of that came Raised by These Wolves, Volume 2, Child Trafficking Through Foster Care and Court Systems. That came out mid-July as a bestseller. And feel free to buy me a coffee to help keep this podcast going. My guest is a return guest. I'm so happy to have Mark Andrews on. He was last on Season 2, Episode 80, Season 3, Episodes 13 and 23, Season 4, Episodes 116 and 138, and Season 5, Episodes 29 and 61. The last time we spoke, we talked about the voided arrest and updates to his case. So we're going to have ourselves a conversation. It's great to talk to you, Mark Andrews. How you been doing?
I'm doing well, Marianne. How about yourself?
Okay.
Congratulations on the new book,
Oh,
and
thank
thank you
you.
for my spot in it.
You are number 24, and here is your picture.
Yeah, that's when I was a congressional candidate here in California in 2022, running for District 9.
Yep, there you are. You're number 24.
I moved up two numbers. I'm moving up in the book.
Oh, I thought you were 24 in this one too, because I was trying to keep everybody in their place.
Oh, I thought I was 26, but I
You're
could be wrong.
right. There you are in the first, in this one. You're right. I tried.
No worries. And it was a wonderful picture there, shot at a rally for was it California families out here. They have the
Oh,
rallies that they do, and that was a picture. We all went to the. I guess there was a Ferris wheel in Golden Gate Park, and so I got a shot on there.
oh, nice, nice. Well, you've been busy. You've been busy process serving and being on audit to audit.
Yes, Audit to Audit picked up a Susan Bassey's video. She's an investigative journalist out of Santa Clara County, California, and she covers exactly what you and I have been so deeply embedded in, the
Mhm.
family court system and the corruption that goes on in it. And I mean, it literally, when it got on there, it blew up.
It did.
Uh,
It did.
Over 800,000 views in 6 days is phenomenal. And hopefully, this will be go more toward exposing what all parents are going through in these family courts
Right. Right.
and the corruption, that comes from it. The particular video that was shot wasn't a family court case that I was serving. It was a private civil matter with the retired fire chief from San Francisco,
Hmm.
who they went out and put some what do you call it, permits and permit fines on him. And
Okay.
then they issued a receiver for the place, and he finally filed a lawsuit. And I had to serve it on the head of county council, who is the supervising attorney in my federal family law case.
Ah.
And as a pushback, I mean, I've worked for county council in Sonoma County, at least up until these things happened.
Hmm.
Went by the office, hey, I don't want to disturb anybody at home. Just, can I serve these here? And I was told by staff at that time, no, you can't serve here a personal matter. That's only for county matters. Okay, so I said, I'm gonna have to catch him or go to his home or something. And
Right.
with Mr. Robert Pittman, I went over to his home.
Hmm.
Showed up, pushed on the gate. The gate was open. I walked in. I knocked on the door a couple times. Nobody answered, and they have their little ring doorbells and their cameras and stuff, so they know I'm there.
Right.
And they should know, I'm wearing a badge,
Yeah.
same one I wear all the time,
Love it. Love it.
and they should have answered the door. What do you want? And no, they weren't going to answer the door. So I do what I do, and I go over and I check the vehicle that was in the driveway. I reach
Hmm.
down and I check the radiator to see if it's hot. Tells me
Right.
if someone's home, because if it's not hot, and there's no sign of life, you
Yeah.
go home. You try and you go home. But if I can find that, or I can hear somebody in the house, I'll stay at it. I'll keep knocking on windows, knocking on doors. And I walked all the way around the house, completely around it, knocking on windows, knocking on doors. Hello, hello. I'm very vocal because I'm not there hiding. I'm not skulking. I'm only there to serve this process.
Mm-hmm.
And he refused to come out. So I figured, he's a partner or, wife or something was going to come home because I didn't know him personally. And I sat on the front porch swing. And lo and behold, 20 minutes later, the Sonoma County
Oh.
Sheriff showed up. And thankfully to me, they had their body cams running. And I do what I always do in those situations. I walk up, show them my badge. If they want, I show them my ID. I'm here serving process. I have limited exemption. Um, and, the officer and I had a little bit of interaction, and he went up and saw Mr. Pittman. And Mr. Pittman was adamant from go. I want him arrested or cited, he said.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the officer, if you listen through the whole video, actually didn't want to. And he says toward the end, he goes, if this guy doesn't sign this citizen's arrest, you and I are both going home. There wasn't nothing to arrest. He was
Right.
process, a service of process, which is the first step in any lawsuit. The
Mm-hmm.
court has no jurisdiction until I've served you and submitted a proof of service to the court. And you would think an attorney making over $400,000 by the county would know better, would know the law. But
Mm.
if you listen to him, and it's very faint in the background, and I actually had a buddy of mine from New Jersey who's an audio engineer. He stuck this recording. He didn't change any of it, but he separated out each voice. They have ways of doing that in
Right.
a sound studio. And he took Mr. Pittman's voice and he turned the volume up. And you hear him saying there, I spoke to the DA and he feels differently when I told him what the law was. So that
Huh.
he knew he was manipulating the law. And then the county council represents the sheriff's office in court when there's any kind of discrepancy. And
Mm-hmm.
he's throwing little things in there, like um, you know, get to me at my office and stuff. And he told the sheriff, I want him arrested. So what's the sheriff going to do? That's his boy. I mean, he did what he was asked to, but Deputy Foyles thought, one, probably I was too calm and cool about it. I think he even says in there, you probably know the codes better than I do. And I mean, I know the process serving codes and I
Mm-hmm.
know them well because they're what protect me. I had an interaction with Sonoma County Sheriff years before where they tried to arrest me at the jail.
No.
And, I walked away. And what I did was I called the desk sergeant and I says, hey, look, I don't know if your people didn't have coffee this morning or his wife got mad at him and put a boot in him at the door or something. But, let's use this as a training exercise. The code says that if I can't go past the door, it's called the guard at the gate rule. And I
Mm-hmm.
had to serve somebody at the jail. There to send somebody down like a deputy or
Mm.
somebody official, and there to take the service. They serve it, and it is considered served. They don't have to let me pass the gate, but they affirm that I'm taking this to the person you want to serve.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, the Sonoma County Sheriff has never done a citizen's arrest up until head of county council, Robert Pittman, told them directly, I want him cited.
Mm.
And fortunate for us, it's all on beautiful HD body cam video. And I gave that to Miss Bassie, and Miss Bassie, did a wonderful video on it, covered it, looked at the law. It says, Mr. Andrews was right. She put up there the voided ticket. The sheriff's office voided that matter within an hour and 20 minutes after it was issued.
At
That's how
taxpayers'
quickly they
expense.
really,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, well, I mean, the sheriff thing isn't at the taxpayer's expense. I mean, he was just getting it right. He
Right.
did his job, which, I mean, for
Mm-hmm.
us that deal with family court are like, did their job? Really?
Yeah.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
But this deputy did his job, looked up the law, called me, said void the ticket. He sent me a letter stating you were just detained, backing out of it because that's why we didn't sue the sheriff when we filed the lawsuit. They did
Mm.
what was right. It was Mr. Pittman. It was his partner Gregory Jenkins that did what was wrong, and I believe Mr. Jenkins is also an attorney and should know better.
Ugh.
So we filed that lawsuit against him to move forward. And there's some more video from Miss Bassie about that. If you look online, Susan Bassie, Bassi.
Mm-hmm.
She likes to cover the things that you and I are so passionate about, family court and basic court corruption.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she does a fabulous job covering it. I don't know what we'd do without her. I mean, it's so corrupt.
And
No
there's
one,
so down in Santa Clara, I went down there and served in a case for her, some 40 serves. When it comes to her in town, they are very abusive to her. They
mm-hmm.
do not like. I mean, if Katie Couric or Katie Tur from MSNBC showed up and was taping me, I don't think the county would be doing the same thing they're doing to Susan Bassey. They totally, I wouldn't. I would say from what I've witnessed, they violate her rights, but
Yeah.
they definitely try and skirt a railing because she is a reporter. She's a known reporter, and
Mm-hmm.
she has, the credentials to back it up. And the way they treat her is just reprehensible because she's exposing the corruption.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think everyone should watch her videos and just go on YouTube and type in her name, Susan Bassi, and just watch. Because really, a lot of people who haven't been through what we've been through, they would probably never believe this.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no. Between you and I, what we've been through, if anybody, just the average person who's, even sees things on TV, they go, "What the hell happened to you?
Yeah,
Really?"
yeah. They don't get it until they go through it. I wouldn't wish this
Yeah.
on anyone.
When I did the interview with Steve Jackson on 95.5 The Drive a few months back, there was one person when they heard that I was in a family law case for 22 years was going, "Oh my God, what kind of mental illness are you on?" And
Ah,
they don't understand that, I haven't seen my kids since 2008. They still come after me and make my life difficult. And the only choice I have is to capitulate or fight back. And Marianne, you've known me for years. When do I capitulate?
no, you are
Never.
very persistent and steady. Uh, and you just keep going. You're like a train.
I am the storm,
Yeah.
like a hurricane.
And some people just give up. And I feel bad for the people that give up or they feel so beaten down and
I
they just
can't.
keep going.
This involves my two children, Alexis Kayleigh and George Benjamin. I haven't seen them since 2008, and that drives me like nitrous fuel in a funny car
Mhm.
every day to deal with this.
Yeah.
I mean, would I love it if they would come to court, sit down, fix this, settle it, and be done with it?
Mhm.
Hell yeah. I'm all for it, but I'm not going to be railroaded, and my children are never not going to get justice. I
Mhm.
will keep fighting this until it is made just. And the
Right.
people that did wrong have to deal with what they did wrong.
Because your children don't know the truth.
No, I haven't seen them since they were 11 and 13, and they're in their late 20s. My son just had his 27th birthday in May.
Mm. So sad because you're such a
Yeah,
great guy. I mean, he should
well,
know you.
thank you. I wish they did. I wish they took the chance, but unfortunately, they were fed some misinformation, and maybe it's just easier for them to, let it go at the moment. And I still plan on going out and touching base with my daughter. I know she's living, last I checked, Dover, Delaware, married
Mhm.
to an airman at Dover, who I guess was assigned to Dover Air Base. Looks like a really stand-up guy. I just haven't met him yet.
Mhm.
And my son's the one, I have no idea where he's at in the world. I don't know what
Mm.
name he's using, but when I look up his actual name, nothing comes up.
Mm.
So it's a sad thing, but you know what? I'm fighting this fight so that when I prevail, other parents that are coming after you and I won't have to know this misery. They won't have to know the heartache of every day wishing I could just hear my kid's voice say hello.
Mhm. 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 Now, when we were talking earlier, you don't think family court could ever be abolished? What could change?
Well, I mean, it's a civil process. What it needs more is more regulation. It's one of the few courts, I mean, like you go to criminal court, there is a fair set of rules. They can't do certain things to you. Family court, it's like going out in the wild, wild west. Do you have a six shooter or, a Gatling gun? But based on whatever's in your quiver, is how, you're going to get treated in there. And as you well know, they pick one parent, they run with that parent, and they railroad the other one because they're making money hand over fist for every case that comes through there. And with a 50% divorce rate in this country, hey, it's just like a license to print money.
Mhm. Right.
And
And
so
yeah, the judges aren't following the laws either. They're
that's why the legislation we're going to shoot for, I know we're talking about it out here with California Families Rise and
Mhm.
my good friend Michelle Chan. We're shooting for the first law that we want to get legislature to pass is, since during the pandemic, judges didn't want to be, touched with the COVID. They put a camera in every single courtroom in
Mhm.
the state for remote appearances. All right. So you've already done the financial end of it because of the pandemic. Now just make it a law that everybody can record.
Mhm.
And,
Mhm.
I mean, within reason, you don't want somebody bringing in, $700,000 worth of equipment for a 20-minute hearing. But on the other hand, you've already got a camera. We're all up there on that, screen in the courtroom. And, somebody's lawyers appearing from, Stockton, California, all the
Mhm.
way over here in Sonoma County. Hey, we should be able to get a disc with that hearing on it. So you can't have
Right.
transcripts like what I went through where they altered
Oh,
the transcript,
right.
and that literally voids the entire matter. Speaking of that, because we covered that in your book, um,
Mhm.
Tom Camp and I, we've got the motion together. We're going to be filing it, I believe, this week and going back to court with it to see about actually voiding the matter. And we're going to see what the court is going to do, how they're going to play this. Do
Mhm.
they want me to keep talking and doing these interviews and talking to newspapers, the radio? We're trying to talk to the New York Times right now.
Mhm.
We're going to be trying to get in with some local TV stations because we have enough evidence that things are wrong, and we, the people, want things to be right. And if we don't speak up and we don't fight for it, your rights will be gone. I believe what I forget which Supreme Court justice said it, but I know they said, "What is a right without a remedy?"
Oh,
If
yeah.
they can violate your right, there has to be a remedy for it. Otherwise, it's not a right. And there was actually a famous attorney. I know he represented Donald Trump in his impeachment thing. His
Mhm.
name was Jonathan Turley. He's a guy at Georgetown, but I don't think he did.
Oh.
Sweeping the Constitution with immunities, you
Mhm.
erode away the fact that nobody is above the law.
Mhm.
And that's very true. And we parents in the parents' rights movement know all too well about walking into a courtroom
Mhm.
and having it blow up on us. And like, well, look, I read the law. This is what the law is. And nope. I had one of the presiding judges here in the county once tell me I read the law to her right out of a pleading. And she goes, it doesn't apply to you. You're going to pay the bill.
Right. This is what's happening. And these judges are also forcing parents to sign over their 401ks to their exes. I just cannot believe this is happening. This is
Mm-hmm. They make monsters of us, and then they worry about Godzilla coming through town and stomping on everything. Well, then you shouldn't have made the monster. You should have obeyed the law.
Mhm.
And like my thing is finally super blowing up. You mentioned at the beginning about audit to audit.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't even have any idea. Somebody called to tell me I was on there, but they look at how police and process servers, lawyers and judges, how we all interact with each other and the public. And lo and behold, I got an A+ rating. So thank you.
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
but I mean, I knew in that instance when I went up to Mr. Pittman's house, I'm serving process. When you're
Right.
watching the video, if you watch, the first thing I come up, I'm holding my badge and I told the officer, I'm here serving process. I identify myself. I gave him the papers. He's looking through them. Now,
Mhm.
what the lawyer, the front steps of this house did, that's on him. And considering, he makes over 400,000 a year, and he's the head attorney for all of the county, and he's supposed to ensure that, us citizens are protected from bad things. Well,
Mhm.
in this case, he was the bad thing because all he had to realize was, you're served. This is an uncomfortable situation. You're leaving, right? Yes, sir, I'm leaving. I'm done. And then he might have done, I recently served a judge here in town. one
Mm-hmm.
of the judges, and we know each other. We've known each other for years. And he came out from his house, met me at the sidewalk, and he goes, "Mr. Andrews, don't come back to my house again, please. I don't want this address in any paperwork in the courthouse." He goes, "Anything you have for me for the future, please go down to Department 16 at the courthouse, see the clerk. She'll accept anything you have for me personally." And I mean, fine. You've now given me a directive. You're a
Mm-hmm.
legal professional. You're accepting any service I bring to you. I will do that, sir. Shook
Mm-hmm.
his hand. We were fine. And he went on and had a day.
Mm-hmm. Well, that other Pittman, he was also trying to say you were trespassing, right? I think I remember that.
Right. And under the trespassing law, I don't have the numbers in my head, but it's, like C3 or something. There's, numbers down in the law. It says there is a limited exemption for trespass of a process server serving process.
Mm-hmm.
He also lies in that video twice. One, he says, "I wouldn't leave the process at work." What do you mean? If they would have accepted, I would have left it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, less gas, less time. And the
Right.
second thing he says, he goes, "I've got you hopping the fence." I never hopped the fence. I pushed it open. It wasn't even locked.
Right.
Matter of fact, in the video, you catch me at the very beginning telling the officer just to push the gate. It's open.
Right. Right.
So here he is on video lying to a police officer and asking for an arrest to be made.
Oh.
How does this man testify in any courtroom in the state of California or federal court now that he on video is a known liar to the authorities? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I understand there's some Brady list that they can put him on, but I don't know how effective it is. But Robert Pittman should not be the head attorney for Sonoma County. He
Mm.
lied on video. He lied to have a citizen arrested, and he lied to have a court officer arrested while they're doing their job. You know, how does he maintain his position?
Oh, right. Right. They're above the law.
As a matter of fact, after that serve, if you hear me tell the officer I got to go down to Petaluma, I got one more. There was another attorney in the county. Her name is Diana Gomez. I had to serve her. Her house was a little more impenetrable, and so and I couldn't verify that she was there. So I abandoned, trying to get all the way, to be annoying at the house and knock on the windows and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, the attorney in the county, his name is Mr. King, came out and told me, "If you have anything for anybody in this office, you bring it here. You don't go to their home. We'll accept service." And the next video Miss Bassie did was my friend Michael Young serving Mr. King, Mr. Pittman's lawsuit.
Mm.
We were told not to go back to the house. We were told you would accept service here. I complied. We have a whole video of it. I got no problem with serving anybody anywhere at any time. My job is to hand you these papers and sign in the court. I don't care. 1:42 a.m. at McDonald's on, Wilshire Boulevard, Los Angeles, California. You're served. My job's done. I get paid. I don't
Mm-hmm.
take it personal where or when it happens. My job is just to effect service.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Pittman didn't like the fact that he had sued the former fire chief from San Francisco and that other things he's doing nefariously are being exposed. I mean, they're trying to steal this. This guy's 75 years old. He's got a nice little property out in the sticks in Sebastopol,
Mm-hmm.
California. One of the most wonderful guys you ever want to meet. And they're literally trying to steal his property. And they have a legal way to do it. It used to be eminent domain. They
Mm-hmm.
don't do eminent domain no more. They find ways to fine you, make sure you can't pay it, and then they take your property.
Oh, that's so scary.
And Susan Bassie lost two houses. And I guarantee you, if I had owned a house during all this, I would have lost my own house by now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It is just reprehensible what these officials will put us through, and that they don't have any form of oversight, or at
No.
least oversight that will do it. I mean, because I did ask the Sonoma County Sheriff. I said, "Look, he lied to you on video. That's false police report, false arrest. I want him arrested for it." They
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't do that. Why wouldn't? Because county counsel represents them in court. That's a conflict. So
Mm-hmm.
where do I go to have Mr. Pittman arrested or investigated for what he did? Because I mean, I have the proof he did it. He
Right.
can't deny it. 800,000 views I got that he did it, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, it
So,
has to be exposed.
and that's what I'm doing. Until they settle with me, I'm getting louder and louder. I mean, hey, I look forward to possibly getting with the New York Times shortly and talking
Mhm.
with them. Wouldn't that be something on the cover of the New York Times?
That'd be great.
California county files false evidence into federal case, you know?
Well,
Or in the case of Pittman, head of county council arrests officer lawfully serving him process. I mean, if these things started happening, less of these jerks would be doing things like this.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we might get some, I mean, there are decent officials out there. There are decent judges. I know a bunch of them here in the county and other counties. There's a couple I even have coffee with.
Mm-hmm.
There are some really great attorneys out there. I mean, when I first became a process server, it was a team. It was attorney Charles Applegate
Mm-hmm.
and his buddy Jim Baker. Baker Investigations was a former police lieutenant, and they gave me a little office in their office, something I could afford, and taught me. They took me under their wing. They taught me about doing things right, about being professional, about being decent to people, and always putting your best foot forward. I
Mm-hmm.
had hundreds of breakfasts with Jim Baker. We'd always meet at Juanita's here in Santa Rosa. It was, a $5 breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
and it was, I mean, a big plate of food. And we'd just sit and talk about cases, and Jim, would always he taught me things like a father. It was
Oh,
sad we lost him
yeah.
during the pandemic, but Jim Baker was, a man among men, and he is sorely missed here in the county.
Mm. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's good you had someone guiding you because a lot of these parents don't have anybody guiding them.
Yeah, no, I've been very blessed in, some of the interactions that, have come this way since I processed served and stuff. I know some of the best attorneys in town. There was a point early in my case where one of the attorneys, I'd never known what a mock trial was.
Mm-hmm.
And we did a mock trial in his office, and it was a neat thing to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a lot from it. So, I mean, there are many great people in the legal field. There are
Mm-hmm.
great many, great lawyers, and there's a few good judges here in Sonoma County. But it's these ones who think, they're above the law and they're above doing the right thing or the decent thing. These
Mm-hmm.
are the people that needed to be weeded out.
Right, because I sensed with Pittman there was obviously arrogance, that
Oh, yeah.
exuded arrogance.
Hey, you see him just saying, I want him cited. Just accept your papers and go on. The first time his office hired me was because they were trying to serve someone that wouldn't let them on the property, and
Oh,
I hopped the fence. And that one, it wasn't an open gate. I literally hopped the fence and went on the property to serve for them. And that's how I got my job with them. I was successful in getting that person served. And I did another about 10 or 12 serves before they stopped using me when this interaction with Mr. Pittman happened. How many hundreds or thousands of dollars of income did I lose not working for the county because Robert Pittman, had a bad day,
oh,
you know?
yeah, unbelievable. People have to
Yeah.
look at that.
But but he's making $400,000 a year. That guy makes more than our congressman.
He makes
How
more
is
than,
that?
yeah, he makes more than any attorney. What's
And
going
you
on?
wonder, they're building that big new courthouse. I don't know if you've seen the pictures of
Oh,
it,
yeah,
but
yeah.
how do you fund something like that? And you're paying these attorneys $300,000 and $400,000 more than a congressman. Where's it all coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Us. It's
Yeah.
coming from us. You know, people like Michael Castanola, who they're trying to take his property that's worth over $1 million.
Mm.
That's crazy. That
Mm-hmm.
man's in his retirement. He's just trying to enjoy life. He wanted to
Oh,
pay the fines. He made a deal. And then we're about to uncover um, they send drones over your house in this county. That's trespassing.
mm.
And we're going to expose the proof we have on that soon. I'm helping Susan Bassey get that together. So that's up and coming for us.
Oh, good,
But
good.
we're going to keep exposing the things they're doing wrong until they fix it.
Right, right. And if they weren't doing anything wrong, we wouldn't be having this podcast.
Yeah, we would go into a Steeler game and getting a terrible towel in Pittsburgh, huh?
That's right. That's right. Well, hey, how can people reach you if they have any questions?
If they have any questions, I believe you have it on your site, but phone number 707-280-7425. And my email is very simple, just like on the back of a Hollywood chair, not to be taken away at live.com. And those are the
Gotcha.
ways to get a hold of me.
I'll put all that in the podcast notes. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I just want to say thank you for all the good work you do in this. Thank you for letting me be part of your book. And let's you and I just keep bringing this storm forward until we clear out all the bad brush.
Oh, yes, most definitely. Hey, don't jump off, okay?
Okay, Marianne.
Slam the Gavel's a podcast to help the public understand what really goes on in these courtrooms. I'm your host, Marianne Petrie. You can find me on Spotify, YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Apple iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google, and other platforms I don't know. Again, I thank you, Mark Andrews, for joining me this afternoon. Thank you.
You're welcome, Marianne. Have a good day.
You too.